My name is Paul Routley. This is World Disclosure, showing attributes of the human body that should not be, but is. Showing science that should not be, but is. Showing documentaries that should not be, but is. And showing history of our planet that should not be, but is. What the heck is going on? This is World Disclosure, information that should not be, but is. What the heck's going on? Outstanding. What's coming our way? The human body. All information can be seen at www.extremegrip.com, spelt with 2 P's. At the first page at the very bottom, you can go to Disclosure and follow the sequences of this documentary for the references provided. Outstanding. All references are also provided in the description section of this video. On reference 1, we have an incredible human attribute that should not be but is. This is off the scale, and once again, it's important to note when we watch these documentaries that these people's bodies are showing that the human body's anatomy is capable of this. And how is this possible? On example number 1, we have a baby toddler. She is only 840 days old. This is amazing. She's only days old. She has an IQ of 156. Einstein was 160. She's been accepted into the finest brain school in the world, Mensa. How is this humanly possible? This girl has not even gone to school herself. Go to section 1 for these incredible documentaries and many more equivalents of human bodies' abilities that should not be but are. This is off the scale, 845 days old, an IQ 156. Outstanding. Just the beginning. On reference 2, we have a baby toddler. Once again, a baby. Now this toddler is under 365 days old because she's under 1 year of age. She is on Britain's Got Talent. This little toddler predicts 2 years into the future with unbelievable accuracy and information. I mean, how is this humanly possible? A baby toddler predicting 2 years into the future. She can barely speak. This is off the scale, and once again, the human body's anatomy doing attributes that should not be but is off the scale. For example number 3, this once again takes things to the extreme. We have human beings that have the perfect memory. This is unbelievable. They have a computer memory. They can remember every day, week, month, year, going back decades with 100% accuracy. How is this humanly possible? They have a computer memory. This is amazing. See documentary number 3, human beings with the perfect memory. This is off the scale, but once again, they're showing you that the human body is capable of this. This is amazing. Now, on reference 4, we have DNA computer chips. What the heck is this? In 2017, they started making scientifically the ability to make DNA computer chips. They are going to be taking the present metallic chip technology, in other words, your present cell phone. They're going to be adding DNA computer chips, in other words, adding your DNA to the present metallic chip technology to make the next generation quantum, or better worded, extreme horsepower increase. Well, what the heck is this? They're adding your flesh and blood to make things better. Well, this is excellent from the perspective that they are showing that the human body's DNA is this powerful, but I do not believe it should be intermingled with metallic chip technology to make things better. This should not be, but is. DNA computer chips, what the heck's going on? Your human body is far more superior than you realize as you start connecting the dots on this incredible documentary and the attributes that the human bodies have. This will all come together. Next, for reference 5, it's also once again extreme and off the scale and should not be but is, but we have a mind reader that uses the third eye technique, which is the ancient wisdom of the Egyptians, which they also called and referred to as the Eye of Horus. This third eye, Eye of Horus, which is the pineal gland in the human brain, is documented as the source of the higher abilities that the Egyptians' human abilities had. These documentaries you can see in the next section, number 6, coming up. Unbelievable, the third eye. Watch the mind reader. This is unbelievable, and once again, this should not be, but is. What the heck's going on? So once you've seen the mind reader actually transfer knowledge and wisdom to Simon Cowell, you start realizing, well, what the heck's going on here? And the answers they're not in the mainstream, but they are out there and they're scientifically proven. And in reference 6, you will see documentaries for the third eye, the all-seeing eye, which the Egyptians recorded as the higher level of intelligence. This is the source of all the higher intelligence and abilities that peoples have that you're seeing in these documentaries. The only organ in the human body that can allow these abilities to be what you are watching that should not be but is the pineal gland, which will be covered in further detail coming up. Once again, outstanding what these people are doing. Once you realize in reference 6 that there's actually a science and organ and abilities that the human body is capable of, but it's just not in the mainstream of things, it will assist you to go to the next item, number 7, where science starts taking things to a new level, showing that there is a hidden science on our planet and also knowledge and wisdom in our universe. Once again, this is off the scale. In reference 7, you will see Dr. Emoto's 50-year career show and explain water has 2 attributes that should not be but is. What the heck's going on? Because he shows water has consciousness. Yes, consciousness. Humans have consciousness. He shows that water has memory. And because our bodies are 70% water, when you start practicing these attributes of water from Dr. Emoto, you will see that our bodies perform completely different. This is science that's off the scale, because for water to have these abilities, it shows that there is more involved, which will also explain the next subject coming up. Gregg Braden, scientific community. Gregg Braden is a scientist. He explains that they have scientifically proven that the universe has a higher knowledge, a higher consciousness, higher abilities, but this is not kept, this is kept out of the mainstream and not discussed. When you start putting all these attributes together, these are all interconnected in how these abilities of knowledge, wisdom, etc. are capable of. Watch Gregg Braden's science. He even takes it to the matrix. This is off the scale, science at its finest. Gregg also explains that this higher knowledge of wisdom, the consciousness wisdom of the universe, is also the source of our intuition. Our intuition is what the hidden knowledge that people have but do not practice or focus upon, but is very powerful. And this is all part of the hidden knowledge, wisdom, and science that is a part of our human bodies and the attributes of the pineal gland, the third eye, the all-seeing eye. In section 8, we cover the pineal gland, on why only 3% of the population are having these incredible attributes that should not be, but are, and why 90% of the people are not experiencing these higher abilities and attributes. And the answer is the pineal gland is simply dirty from all the sludge that builds up from all our processed foods, etc., in our system. And on the internet, you'll notice there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people trying to put this knowledge out there, but it's not in the mainstream. There are numerous ways to decalcify your pineal gland, in other words, clean your pineal gland and have it operating properly. Go to section 8 for all the decalcifying sources of your pineal gland, which is simply dirty, and why you are not operating at the top 3%, of which are the abilities you are watching in this documentary. To further clarify, for a pineal gland to have its abilities to operate and be healthy and function normally, there are 3 things that must occur. Number 1, the pineal gland must not be dirty or calcified. The pineal gland also has to operate at what's called love or above frequencies. We are actually electric energy beings, and the pineal gland is a gland that only works on frequency, which you will see in the science, and has to be clean and operating at high frequency, love or above, to operate. In other words, if you are in a negative mode, you just had a fight with the wife, your higher abilities or intuition, etc., will not be up and running. That is part of the anatomy on how it works. The world has a tendency to operate in either fear, stress, anxiety, which are all attributes that will not allow your pineal gland to operate healthy or to function in its higher abilities and attributes. This is why war, financial stress, etc., in our system is contributing to why 97% of our population are not able to operate at this higher level documented in science. On reference 9, we have a subject that should not be but is, and the subject is UFOs and other species. We now have government officials coming forward stating that we have cabal governments working with other species. UFOs exist, and they've been operating with our governments for quite some time. Numerous whistleblowers have come forward with this. See the documentaries. Once again, this should not be but is, but it's all part of the whole picture of deception, as the whole thing is got to be added up to see what the heck is going on. This should not be but is. See these documentaries. Once again, this is preparing you for the next subject, because once again, the next subject should not be but is, just like everything in this documentary. What the heck is going on? So reference 9 proves 100% that UFOs and other species have been walking amongst us for a long, long time, which will prepare you for the next one. Reference 10, this is off the scale, should not be but is. We have whistleblowers coming forward. This is off the scale because we have Dr. Stephen Greer and UFOologists and scientists worldwide, along with whistleblowers, coming forward stating that they have reverse engineered UFOs that have crashed on our planet. Man has their own UFO duplicates, and they are about to start a fake invasion to put everybody in fear. And the reason for this is they have continually been deliberately keeping the population in fear, stress, or in low vibration to prevent their higher abilities from being active. Once again, they are planning a UFO invasion. There are thousands of people coming forward with this information. It's all in the documentary, but it's not in the mainstream. Your news is controlled. It's deliberately not letting you see other people's opinions. Once again, this is off the scale. See the documentary. Should not be. Human beings are recording this. What the heck's going on? See the documentaries. In reference 10, they explain that if aliens, UFOs, truly wanted to do bad things or harm the human species on planet Earth, it would have happened a long time ago. UFOs have been documented going all the way back to the beginning of civilization. No, they've simply been watching our evolution and progress. The deception that's truly going on is mankind putting a fear in the human species as part of a control tool is what's truly happening. The people who own the world, in other words, control it, the top 1% that own everything, no, they want to keep owning everything, and they don't want you to know that there's a higher wisdom, knowledge, and science going on, as they're quite enjoying playing with it themselves while keeping you dormant to it. This is amazing, but this is also prepping for the next subject. Once again, what's coming up should not be, but is. Wow. So the next subject is, once again, should not be, but is, and it's Big Pharma. So Big Pharma has been around for approximately just over 100 years, and if you do the research, you will notice that their lawsuits on Big Pharma, adding up from all the companies over 100 years, exceeds $1 trillion. Now, I do not believe that a medical system should have that kind of track record. When you further take this and understand that only 2% of the people can afford to sue Big Pharma, or due to the incredible roadblocks that are everywhere, they're basically unsuable if you look at the way the system is set up. It's absolutely off the scale. But if you were to remove those roadblocks, the suing would go from 1 trillion to quadrillion. No medical system should have that kind of track record. What the heck is going on? Go see documentaries on Big Pharma lawsuits. You will also see my personal story with myself and my family. Pharmaceutical, our experience has toxified us. Absolutely ridiculous. There are also millions and millions of people out on the internet being toxified as well. Their opinions are not being heard. What the heck is going on? Once again, Big Pharma should not have a track record into the trillions, quadrillions, and they also should not have a track record of millions and millions and millions of people absolutely screaming at the toxicity of what's going on. Completely not being heard. Big Pharma, shame on you. So on reference number 12, we have planet Earth history. Now, once again, this should not be, but is. But when you truly look at the planet Earth's history and what's in our schools, once again, you go, what the heck's going on here? We were taught in schools that we were cavemen, slowly evoluting to the present day, to our present status of evolution. Unfortunately, the archaeological records show that that is not the case. Archaeological records show that we were never cavemen. that we were, our first civilizations were completely educated. They had books, written texts, speech, metal, glass, agricultural, etc. And it goes on and on. So what the heck is going on that what we were taught in schools, but actually what the archaeological records are completely different. Once again, what's going on? This should not be, but is. Well, when you look at the whole picture, which you'll see in the summary, this will all come together. This again should not be, but is. Go see reference 12, the true history of planet Earth. Unbelievable. So on reference 13, we have the overview of the entire documentary, allowing us to connect the dots on all these attributes that should not be, but is, allowing us to paint a bigger picture of the full spectrum of what the heck is going on. Once again, see reference 13. Outstanding. So the overview is simply this simple. If we go back to the very beginning of the human race, we had abilities and attributes that were superior, far exceeding even third world countries of today. And that was thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And the question is, what happened? And why is that not present? And why did it go backwards? Well, it's quite interesting when you look at our school systems. We were taught so much opposite to what truly is. And it's all linked to the following. DNA computer chips, which are a scientific fact, which our bodies are capable and doing, is because our bodies have DNA computer programming. And that's why if we repeat something over and over and over again, it becomes programmed into our bodies, because our bodies have abilities and attributes that are way beyond the main norm and focus of things. So way back, we were taught that we were caveman because did not want your subconscious to know that you were actually the opposite. You were supreme person with all these abilities. It was a form of programming to downsize your intellect, which is a form of control, which is also why all the fear and stress throughout the centuries of the wars and all the different people in charge of these wars and countries. It's all kept people in fear and stress, and once again, going all the way to the present day. I mean, wow, what's going on? What's going on is there are controllers on this planet that do not want you to know that the human body has abilities and attributes that should not be but is, which you've seen in this documentary. They do not want you to know that under the proper conditions, your body will have these abilities. This is what's been kept from you, and this is what millions and millions and millions of people on the internet are trying to get out, but the news media is controlled. They do not want you to learn this. Look at all these documentaries. These are the facts, and when you start going on the internet, you will see that there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, actually in the millions, trying to get this information out. The problem is when you have 7 billion people on the planet, it gets completely drowned and diluted. Once again, this should not be but is. So the following items continually keep the pineal gland in a sludge condition, which is all the toxins that we find in our systems and our food and our preservatives, the fluorides in our toothpaste, etc., all the chemical fertilizers. I mean, it's just everywhere is there, contaminating the pineal gland and not allowing it to be clean and operate. See all the documentaries. The pharmaceutical industry is not about your health, it's about the money. It's also attacking your body, putting it in a lower energy, which again, your pineal gland cannot operate when your body's under stress. All these chemicals is under stress. 90% of the pharmaceutical industry products have a very, very, very bad track record, and it's all there, deliberate, not to do your body good, all trying to keep your supreme being abilities from not activating. The documentaries you are seeing are part of the 3% of the population that are active, their bodies are healthy, and their bodies are able to do this. See all the documentaries, it's all proven science. And then, of course, the ultimate is the one that's starting to occur in our skies right now. If you start following the news